Bonjour mes amis, hi guys, happy Chinese New Year. It's the first day of the year of the tiger, always a very special one. So every bit of memento is going to become a bit of a collectible. Today, tomorrow, and the whole week we're going to give away lices, little red envelopes like this one with a fresh note inside, a 20, a 50, $100 Hong Kong dollar bill to the single people in the office, your friends, to the little kids, to the people working in your building, all the service people, anyone you feel like giving them to. Now, year of the tiger. Obviously, there's one watch that is going to be interesting, maybe to own, maybe to deal, to trade. Is of course the Tudor Prince Tiger, as a reference to Tiger Wood, a short-lived association of the brand and the famous golf player. Earlier versions came out without the tiger, and even earlier versions had the sheer flanks. The one I really like is the one with the rounded flanks, so the references starting with a 7-9, references starting with a 7-8 will be what they call the big block. I find this one here a lot closer, well, to the big sister, the Daytona. And when you look at it from this side, you have to say it's a pretty elegant side. Well, elegant is not the word, but very similar look to the famous chronograph from Rolex. What's cool with the Tigers and the Tudor chronographs is that they came out with different dials, so you can have a bit more fun. And the Daytona prices are so crazy these days. This becoming maybe the next best option. Of course, I don't think you can ever fool yourself. I wouldn't buy this as an alternative, but I think it's a good looking watch anyway. And if you choose a cool dial like this one, this copper dial, almost salmon kind of dial, then you have something actually quite unique that you don't find in the Rolex range, of course. Inside, you're not going to have a Rolex movement. That's the whole way the Tudor brand was built. Although these days it has changed. But back then, 90s, early 2000s, you would have customer movement. Here you have the Valjoux, which I think is like customizations for Tudor. What I like is that you get the date, which is pretty cool, and yeah, beautiful sunburst sunray dial here. Interesting play on the sub dials, a bit more funky. The watch is going to be a bit taller, of course, than the Rolex. Speaking of Rolex, I'm wearing my Explorer today. I'll show you on the wrist how that is. It wears really well on the wrist, really petite, and I think because it's a 40 millimeters, it marries well with the thickness. It's not that thick, and because the case is rounded, it's a bit like a Milgauss, Rolex Milgauss kind of case. And I think, for example, if the Tudor, the current Pepsi GMT from Tudor, had a rounded case like this, nobody would find it too big. It's really a visual illusion, and of course here the lugs are also quite slim and rounded down from the case. It makes a big difference. Every fraction of millimeter counts when you talk about case sizes, and of course every rounded shape helps. So yeah, Tiger. People around here are fairly attached to those traditions, to some superstitions, and in any case, it's all around you. So I think it's cool to have something that mentions tiger on the dial, even if it's a different kind of tiger. It's still a winner of a tiger. I don't know what I'm hammering on about. Cool piece. Now the prices. It's reached that point where it's exceeding the intrinsic value of the pieces. So the whole is worth more than its parts. Obviously, it's become a bit of a collectible. And as I said, with the whole market being brought up by watches like the Daytona, it helps the market for the Tudors. But as I said, they're great watches, interesting watches themselves. And this one here is in a mint condition. I have the papers. It is from Hong Kong, ultra super mint. Actually, I have the papers somewhere not too far. I can show you what they would look like. They are in French. I'm going to try to keep the some details hidden, but there you go. Guarantee Tudor, model 79280. And these are punched papers. And you have the 888, meaning it's been exported by Rolex Tudor to Hong Kong. It is the code for the city. And it's also lucky numbers, 79280P, sold in 2008. So it's not that long ago, it's not that old of a watch, by a precision watch, which is where I still buy my Tudors. I got my ceramic, my Black Bay 58 Blue at a precision watch. So if you're watching, shout out to Boyer there. Go find him at Pacific Place. Great place to shop for your watches. And I'm sure maybe he's the man who sold this watch originally. So maybe I should go and show it to him. So there you go. That's the kind of paper you would get in French, en français, with some information here. And the price is Hong Kong dollar. I paid 35,000. What that would be exactly, I can calculate that for you. 4,500 US. They've moved up in price a little bit since then. I think dealers would probably be asking closer to 5,800 US at the moment. Then you could haggle a bit. For me, I don't wear it all that much. I like the color. It is quite comfortable. Do I feel like wearing it all the time? Not yet. I think it depends on the mood. It's not become my favorite watch. Why? I'm not so sure. Maybe it's the bracelet. So the earlier versions are interesting because they had more Rolex parts, including the Oyster bracelet, Rolex clasp, Rolex crown even, and Rolex case back. So the further you go back, the less of a Tudor it is, the more of a hybrid it is, and it's quite interesting. Now, unfortunately, I'm not made of money. When I was looking for these watches and I bought this one, there was also another watch I really love, the other reference, the 79270, which has GMT rotating bezel. So it's a black bezel, 12-hour bezel. So interesting, it adds a bit of a little complication. And that one had a stunning yellow dial, great combo with a bit of red. It's the colors of my country flag, Belgium. But there already the price was closer to 6,000 US. I felt that's a bit much. I can't really afford it. But it was gone pretty quickly after that, especially because I think Crown and Caliber did a video with the exact same model, and the next day it was gone. So you see how people are. It just takes a little video like the one I'm doing now, maybe to push a model over the cliff, and there are a lot of them around, but not millions of them around. They're not hard to find at the moment, but they're quite hard to find at a good price. I think I got this one at a good price in perfect condition with the papers, which is not so easy to find, and it's going to get less and less easy, especially this year. Now that it's the year of the tiger. people are getting their little bonuses. They might want to celebrate a bit, indulge a bit, and they can't get the Daytona. So I think this could be a very hot item in the coming weeks, especially in Asia, in the countries that really celebrate the Year of the Tiger. So do consider it. If you've been on the fence, maybe it's a good time to pick one up, enjoy it a bit, and see if you love it, keep it forever. If you don't, don't think it's going to be too difficult to resell, but careful, there's still a lot of them around. But I find usually prices here for dealers, the big blocks, they're really expensive. I don't think it's worth it. I prefer the way these were. These are still somewhat reasonable. So I think it's cool, yeah, to have a tiger name on the watch for the Year of the Tiger. So I'm gonna wear this with a. It's gonna be a bit more special. And yeah, if someone wants to offer me crazy money for it, maybe I could let it go. But I don't think I'll ever get a Daytona. To be frank and honest with you, it's not in the card anymore. That ship has sailed for now, at least. So this is the next best thing, the next closest thing, and it has, as I said, a lot of cool charm in itself. So I think it's a great watch to collect if you can afford it. Obviously, for the same price range now, you can get the brand new chronographs. Well, if you can get them, it's still a bit difficult, but I think there's quite a few already in the market. You don't have to pay much of a premium to get the current new chronographs, the Panda and the Reverse Panda. I like the two-tone as well, actually. To be honest, I even prefer the sort of John Player special colors there, the yellow, black. I think it looks even better than the Pandas, but might be a bit thicker. But yeah, the current the current Tudor's chronographs, I feel they were just that little bit too big to be just great, and that's why for the same money I preferred getting this, which wears really, really great, really comfortable. You're not always looking twice, just wondering, is this too big for my wrist? Which is what I do a lot with my GMT. And I've had on the wrist the new chronographs. It's just that little bit too big because they build them more like a diver with a function on top of it. It's 200 meters of water resistance. I don't really need all that. This one probably, by the way, has 100 meters of water resistance. It doesn't say it on the case. Yeah, when I bought this, I was considering the current ones. I was thinking maybe it's silly to pay the same kind of money than the current ones, and then I realized, to me, this is a lot more special, even if inside it's not the Breitling movement, the corporation movement, tuned for Tudor. This is a value, but at the same time, you get a very stable movement, proven movement that can fit in a small case. Yeah, a bit thick, but not too thick. It's also very easy to service. Anybody's going to service it. It's going to cost you a lot less than having to service that Breitling movement that they put in the Tudors right now. You won't have to go back to Tudor. You can go to any watchmaker. He'll be able to do it for you. Parts are available. So there's quite some advantage in the long term too with owning this one, and the cases are sealed. So I mean, what do you care really what's inside? This one is incredibly accurate. I mean, it probably has never been serviced since 2008, 2009 when it was purchased, and it's well, obviously it hasn't been used much, but it is ultra accurate. So really, what's the big difference? To me, not much. By the way, I don't think I've ever pushed that button. Maybe once. Let's see. It's decent. It's a soft push. Let's see. Push. There you go. So it does work. No problem with it. And will it reset? Yes, it will. There's a feel of quality to this watch. I think it's one more important thing to know. There's a great feel of quality. It's a solid piece of metal. The buttons are well made, and you have the crown guard. A lot of it feels very much like the like a Rolex quality. The winding is smooth, no issue. Pushing back the crown, no issue there. Another thing I would say is that I never bought the Daytona, even when I could have, maybe a two-tone with the Zenith in it, as the ones that I thought were interesting value. Because I don't like the lack of functions of the Daytona. The screw-down pushers, making it impossible to use compared to a Speedmaster, for example. The lack of date. To me, if you pay so much, it was a bit too much compromise to my taste. While here, I get a bit more function, at least with the date. It's a better daily watch to me, yeah, I would say the Daytona. It's so ubiquitous now. I always felt like, in a way, I would pay a lot, not feel special, and at the same time feel like a bit of a target with a watch like that. While this is a bit more relaxing. Nobody's gonna, think badly of you wearing one of these. Most people will not recognize what it is. Bracelet, bit too flash. Yeah, it's one of those Tudor bracelets. They're okay. It feels very comfortable. It's well made. It's held by screws. I mean, it's properly made. They probably wanted to distinct their branding at this point from the Rolex branding. So be done with the Oyster, bringing something different, a bit more polished, but not the same as what Rolex does, and put their signatures, the shield, on the parts to be their own brand. It's been working since then. The Tudor right now is in full force, and it's become it came in on its own. Right. So everyone here in Hong Kong and around celebrating Chinese New Year. Happy Chinese New Year. Happy Year of the Tiger. Let me know if you would buy one of those Tudor Tigers. What do you think it is worth? Do you think it has more legs, or when it reaches the price of the brand new models, it is pretty much as high as you'd want to pay? In this crazy market, who knows? We'll see. Sometimes it's best to take things the simple way, and the simple way to take this one is that it's a good, fun-looking watch. Bye-bye, guys.